employment opportunities at myradioworks.net. It's time for another live sports broadcast right here on your favorite Radio Works radio station. Made possible by our all-in sports boosters. They include
Minnesota West, State Farm Jason Boat, Pepsi-Cola Bottling Company, Bell's Lumber, Lismore Cooperative Telephone Company, Worthington Egg Park, Brown Shoe Fit, Nickel and Associates, Edina Realty, 1015 State Company, Bedford Industries, Farmers Insurance of Avoca, State Farm Jessica Noble, Johnson Jewelry, Shoot Auto Body, Hadley Steel, Heartland Mutual Insurance, Mike Will Investment Office, the Worthington Liquor Store, Johnson Builders and Realty, Steer Concrete, MBTV Wireless, Remax Career Realty, Worthington Footwear and Repair, Scalp Sanitation, Worthington Tax and Business Services, Napa Auto Parts, JBF, Worthington Building Materials, Ling Drainage, Precision Farm Technology, Big Orbs and Bakery.
Thank you again to our all-in sports boosters at Radio Works. And now, with the play-by-play, here he is, the Director of Sports for Radio Works, Ryan McGaffey.
Good evening, this is Ryan McGaffey coming to you tonight from the Minnesota West Center for Health and Wellness. This is the first home game of the season for the Minnesota West Lady Jays Volleyball team. They will be taking on Rochester tonight. Good to be with you here. It is the 8th match of the season for Minnesota West, but again, their first here at home at the Center for Health and Wellness. Minnesota West has a record so far this season of 4-3. They are 1 win and 2 losses in the Minnesota Community Athletic Conference. Rochester, meanwhile, is 3-3 on the year, and they are 2-0 in conference play. Minnesota West in the 9-team conference is ranking among the conference leaders in digs per set. They are third among 9 teams in that category, 22.80. They average 9.88 kills per game, 8.4 assists per set. They are averaging 1.64 aces per set and 2.48 blocks per set. That 2.8 blocks per set ranks them atop the conference in that particular category. For Rochester, the Yellow Jackets, they've always been a pretty strong team. And this year, 3-3 record, 2-0 in conference play, but Rochester has a good tradition of community college volleyball. We'll see how that holds up tonight. Rochester so far this year averaging 10.09 kills per set. That's slightly higher than the Blue Jays. Rochester averaging 9.55 assists per set, which is also slightly higher than the Jays. Rochester with 2.55 aces per set. That's second in the conference. Rochester with 1.39 blocks per set and 20.23 digs per set. We're going to take a break, allow our sponsors to get some advertising out there to our listeners. We thank all our all-in sports sponsors for their support. We'll be gone for a couple of minutes. We'll be back right after these messages on 104.3 KZTP, The Bridge.
Minnesota West Community and Technical College wishes area athletes success. We also invite you to take your next education and academic step with us. Our students are top-notch, and we invite you to be a part of what makes us great. With over 60 programs and majors, we serve over 7,000 students from 34 states and 5 countries. Join in learning with purpose. For more information, contact us at 800-658-2330 or mnwest.edu. Choose a winner. Choose Minnesota West.
Hey, sports fans, just as your local State Farm agent combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates, you can combine your home and auto. And guess what you'll get? That's right, good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. In fact, State Farm Jason Boat is your go-to agent in Southwest Minnesota and Northwest Iowa for the service you deserve and the price you want. So try combining home and auto today. Call State Farm agent Jason Boat for your surprisingly great rates. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Pepsi refreshment. So crack open a Pepsi, kick back, and enjoy.
Pepsi Bottling Company out Pipestone.
Put more grain in the tank and money in the bank with Capello Corn Heads, the original corn chopping head since 1965. Unmatched chop quality with minimal grain loss and the best chop field residue out there. Known for low maintenance and high efficiency. And having harvested millions of acres over the years in more than 80 countries and around the globe, Capello Corn Heads just make sense. Available in nearly any row spacing configuration in both rigid and folding. To learn more, go to CapelloUSA.com or call 855-CAPELLO today.
Back at the Center for Health and Fitness here, on the campus of Minnesota West Community and Technical College. The Lady Jays are getting ready to host their first volleyball match of the season. They'll be taking on Rochester Community and Technical College. Some names on the Minnesota West roster may be familiar to those from Worthington and the area. Number 4, Suvanan Intharath. She is a defensive specialist. She is a 5'4" freshman from Worthington. Also from the area is number 9, Taya Mason. She's a setter from Hartley, Iowa, and a graduate of Hartley Melvin Sanborn High School. Number 10, Molly Thorson. She is a middle hitter, 5'9" freshman from Hardwick, Minnesota, graduate of Laverne High School. Another Southwest Minnesota athlete, Shelby Christensen, wears number 11. She's an outside hitter, 5'9" freshman. She is a graduate of Murray County Central High School. Got a couple of players from Martin County West High School. That's a setter, Katie Hummel, freshman, and a middle hitter, Emily Dunlop, who's also a freshman. We have another Worthington player on the roster. She is a freshman right side player by the name of Jolcie Miller. She is 6 feet tall, and she is the tallest Minnesota West Lady J on the roster. For Rochester Community Technical College, well, they've got a lineup of freshmen as well. Only 3 on the entire roster for both teams combined, and that's probably a product of COVID. Of course, last season lost because of the coronavirus, and so this year picking up with a lot of new players, both teams are, and we'll see how that pans out tonight. But Rochester has a leading hitter of 74 kills, Alice Schneider. And actually, no, I'm not reading that correctly. That is another college. So I'm looking at individual stats from the conference, so we'll get this right. Rochester Community College has the leading setter in the conference is Chelsea Lasker. She is a 5'7" freshman from Dodge Center, Minnesota. For Minnesota West, they have Shelby Christensen among the offensive leaders. She is 7th in the conference with a hitting percentage of .222. That Jordan Holman that I mentioned earlier, she is .304 hitting percentage to lead the conference. She attends Western Tech. And that Alice Schneider, who I thought was from Rochester, she is not from Rochester. She is from Century College. Minnesota West also has one of the leaders in kills per set. 5th in the conference in that category is Kennedy Buckenberg. She is a freshman outside hitter from right down Interstate 90 in Garrettson, South Dakota. We got about 1 minute and 20 seconds left before we start our pregame introductions. Meanwhile, I will say that within the conference, it's St. Cloud Tech who is leading the way so far this season. They have an overall record of 5-1 and are 4-0 in conference play. Minnesota State Fergus Falls, they are 4-3 overall, but 3-0 in the conference. Then comes Rochester, 3-3 in overall record, 2-0 in conference play. Western Tech is 2-1 in the conference. The Lady Jays are 1-2 in the conference. Century College 1-3 in the conference, followed by Ridgewater, who has played just one conference game. They're 0-1, but 3-3 overall. Riverland is 0-2 in the conference, and Anoka Ramsey bringing up the bottom of the standings at 0-4. About 27 seconds remaining before we get started. And Rochester is currently ranked number 5 in the National Junior College Athletic Association Division III Top 10. So that's notable. Rochester ranked number 5. Ahead of them are Rock Valley College, Owens Community College, Harper College, and Central Lakes. Also in the top 10 is Minnesota State Fergus Falls. They're coming in at number 10. It just got rather quiet in here, so I better not talk quite as loud. We're going to have some player introductions here. We'll see if these can be picked up at all. Tell you what, I'm not super confident in the sound quality of the PA coming through the microphone, so we're going to talk over the public address announcer here. I believe we're about to introduce the starting lineups anyway for both teams. They're introducing not necessarily starting lineups right now, but the entire team from Rochester, so we will get through that, and then of course after that is done, they'll introduce the entire Minnesota West roster. Tell you what, we're going to take a minute break. We'll be back after these words on KCTP 104.3 The Bridge.
This is Matt, Brown Shoe Fit in downtown Worthington, and we are a proud sponsor of this sports podcast. Make sure to put your best foot forward with us at Brown Shoe Fit. We have all of your shoe needs from casual dress or athletics. You'll find the biggest selection of name brand shoes like Clark's, Brooks, Keen, Birkenstock, Sorel, Haydu's, and more. Stop in and let us help you find the perfect pair here at Brown Shoe Fit in downtown Worthington. Great service, great selection, great fit. Give us a call at 507-376-4160.
Nickel & Associates Insurance Agency is proud to sponsor this sports broadcast. Jim, Trevor, and Tina love their sports, and so do you. So stop in and let them give you a quote for all of your home, auto, business, or life insurance needs. Since 1921, Nickel & Associates Insurance has delivered comprehensive insurance solutions to individuals and businesses throughout Minnesota, in Iowa, and South Dakota. They are located at 1709 North Humiston in Worthington. Give them a call, 507-376-9788.
Back at Minnesota West, and we are just about ready to get underway. We have had the starting lineups. In fact, the entire roster is introduced for both teams. And the Rochester Yellow Jackets are already out on the floor, and Minnesota West now following. Players exchanging high fives among themselves as they get ready to start play here in this conference match between Minnesota West and Rochester. We will find out momentarily who has the honors of the first serve of the match. It's going to be Minnesota West. And it's going to be number 9, Taya Mason, getting this match underway. Mason serves. It's received by Rochester. Set goes across to number 14 for the Yellow Jackets. That is Jennifer Albrecht. She promptly puts it down on the floor, and it's 1-0 Yellow Jackets. So Rochester with the first point of the match. Going back to serve for the Yellow Jackets is Chelsea Lasker. She is a setter, but she serves here. Short serve picked up by West. Attack by Kennedy Buckenberg. And Kennedy Buckenberg evens the score for the Jays. 1-1, and this is Dannon Peterson, I believe. She is a freshman from Tulare, South Dakota. Jump serve, she's a lefty. Gets it up there. Set for the West. Tip over the net, but no problem for Minnesota West to get. Kill that time by number 11 for the Lady Jays, who unfortunately is not listed in my program. We'll see if we can find out who number 11 is on the next break. Peterson serving 2-1 Minnesota West. Here's a set. Attack this time by Alexis Simpson for Rochester. Batted around by Minnesota West, and they cannot get it over by 3 volleys. It's a point for Rochester. It's 2-2. Serving now for the Yellow Jackets is number 1, Alexis Simpson. Simpson serves. It's over. Set that time goes over across the net, and it is wide, and it's another point for Rochester. Rochester now up 3-2 in the first set of the best-of-5 match here at the Center for Health and Fitness. Serve goes to Minnesota West. It's hit over on the third. Free ball. Attack this time is blocked by Minnesota West. Molly Kleist was the one that hit it for Rochester. The block was by the Lady Jays Dunlop, but it went wide and is 4-2 Rochester. Simpson to serve again. Simpson serves. Set this time goes over to number 15. That's Dunlop. Rochester retrieves it. Now it's back on Minnesota West side of the net. Free ball goes over that time for Buckenberg. Rochester on the attack, retrieved by West. Set this time goes over to the middle, where it's Dunlop who puts it home for the third Minnesota West point of the night. 4-3 Rochester, and Buckenberg comes back to serve. Service received. Set for Rochester. Attack this time by Albrecht is successfully dug up by West. Now back on the Blue Jays side of the floor. Free ball is sent over the net by West. Minnesota West now setting another attack. And this one's going to be long. And it will be a point for Rochester. That was the mysterious number 11, who I'll have to find out who that is before too long. 5-3 Rochester. Substitution now for the Yellow Jackets. That's Hope Sexton who's coming into the match, and she will serve for Rochester. 5-3 in set number 1. Sexton serves. It's received. Set goes over to the left side. Dug up by the Yellow Jackets. And blocked at the net by Minnesota West, and they will regain serve. It's now 5-4 Rochester. And we're having some substitutions within the rotation. And number 1 and number 21, that's Julia Russell, number 1, and Emma Keith, number 21, entering for Minnesota West. Keith will serve here at 5-4 Rochester. Keith gets it away. It's received. Set goes over to the left side, and attack that time by Merrick's Young of Rochester is long, and we're knotted up at 5. Keith to serve once again for Minnesota West. She gets it away. Received. It was a short serve. Rochester sets it up for number 18. That was Kleist again. Big attack that time by another Rochester player. That was number 13, but it's still alive. That big attack was by Trinity Gabala. Minnesota West keeping it alive now on their side, and it's attack this time, and it's a kill for West, and it is 6-5 Lady Jays. Number 11 is Shelby Christensen for Minnesota West. Just asked the young ladies next to me who number 11 was, and it's Shelby Christensen. She is the Murray County Central grad. Back underway, and it is a point that time for Rochester, and it's tipped over the net by Merrick's Young, so it is now 6-6. The score is tied up. Going back to serve for Rochester is Molly Kleist. Kleist gets it over. Received that time. And the attack by number 18, Carolus Ramos, I believe, was good. Keith had the set. Perfect for the attack from Corrales Ramos. Served by Julia Russell. Rochester cannot get it over on 3 hits, and the Lady Jays now have an 8-6 lead as Julia Russell goes back to serve once again for the home team. Russell gets it over. It's received. Sent over the net that time by Chelsea Lasker. The attack by Merrick's Young is long, and Minnesota West now has a 9-6 edge. Russell serving once more. Gets it over. Received. Set over to number 13. That time is Gabala. Attack by Christensen is dug up by Rochester. Back over to the left side. And that attack is good that time for Merrick's Young. And Rochester, after a short Minnesota West run, will have the serve back. It's 9-7 Minnesota West. Serving now for the Yellow Jackets, I believe, is number 4. That is Young. Young puts it over. Set over to number 18 for Minnesota West. That's Ramos. An attack that time by Rochester. Successful. Alexis Simpson. It's 9-8 Rochester, or 9-8 Minnesota West over Rochester. Serve that time is received. Tipped over the net that time by Minnesota West, and a lift call is called on the Yellow Jackets. That makes it 10-8, and Shelby Christensen is the one serving for Minnesota West right now. Christensen with a good serve. A lot of strength behind that one. Free ball from the back goes over for Rochester. Set goes over this time to number 20, Bucknerberg, but I believe we had a double hit perhaps called on Minnesota West, so Rochester gets the serve back. It's 10-9. Minnesota West in the lead. Serve is over, and it is an ace. Julia Russell was unable to control that one for the Lady Jays, and we are tied up at 10 apiece. Rochester scoring a couple of points in a row here. Here's a serve. This time goes over to Christensen, who receives it. That's Corrales Ramos. Sends it over to the right side of the front row, and Rochester cannot retrieve it. Point Minnesota West. 11-10 now. Lady Jays out in front. Coming back in for the Lady Jays is Taya Mason. It is her turn to serve. 11-10 Minnesota West in the first set of a best-of-5 match here at the Center for Health and Wellness. Rochester gets it. Tap over the net. Blocked by Minnesota West, but retrieved by Rochester successfully. Nice attack that time from the left side by Shelby Christensen, and Rochester cannot return it. It's 12-10 Minnesota West. Mason will serve once more. Mason sends it over. It's received. Rochester sets it this time over to the left side. Tipped over by number 14. That's Albrecht. Rochester winds up with a point. Minnesota West did make contact with Albrecht's tip, but it was unable to get it over and required 3 hits. It's 12-11. Minnesota West in lead. Rochester serving. Serving it is Lasker, and she is going to get an ace as Minnesota West cannot return the serve over the net. Tying the match up at 12-12 here in set 1. Chelsea Lasker serving. She returns the serve. It's blocked at the net by Alexis Simpson, and Rochester's going to get another point on that one. Rochester retakes the lead at 13-12. Sent over by Lasker, and it is down in the far deep left corner. An ace for Lasker on that one. It is now 14-12 Rochester. Minnesota West wanted to let that one go, and they did, but it fell in the very far corner, and the Yellow Jackets have the 2-point edge. Lasker serves it again. Set this time goes over to number 5, Peterson. Successfully retrieved by Rochester, but Rochester winds up with the point on that one, and it's 15-12. Rochester on a run here. I believe they scored the last 5 points. Serve is dug out. Big attack that time for Minnesota West. That's Kennedy Buckenberg who gets the service back for Minnesota West. It's 15-13 now. Rochester by 2. Dannon Peterson to serve for the home squad. Peterson gets it over. Received. Set goes to the middle this time, and it's put down by number 14 for Rochester. That's Jennifer Albrecht, and it was good. So Rochester quickly gets the service back. They're ahead by 3, 16-13 in this opening set. MCAC conference match between Minnesota West and Rochester. Low serve gets across the net. Minnesota West gets it. Rochester now setting up an attack. That goes over to number 4, Young, but it's dug up that time by Christensen. Hit goes out of bounds that time by Minnesota West's Emily. Alexis Simpson serving. That is low, but clears the net. That's going to be sent over by Dunlop on the 3rd hit. Set this time goes over to Rochester's Young. Rochester now has the ball back. There's a nice dig that time by Russell for Minnesota West. And Minnesota West gets the point back. So 17-14 now. And serving for Minnesota West will be number 20, Kennedy Buckenberg. Kennedy gets it over. Set this time goes to number 18. That was Kleiss, but Minnesota West had no problem defending that. Now back on Rochester's side, set goes toward the middle. Big block that time for Minnesota West. That was Emily Dunlop in the middle, sending it back Rochester's way. Block turns into a point for the Lady Jays at 17-15 Rochester. That's Buckenberg to serve once again. Retrieved by the Yellow Jackets. 3rd hit goes over. Little fake set that time, but goes over the net for Joel-C. Miller. Now it's set once again, and we have a call of 4 hits, I believe. Too many hits, and Rochester will get the point. That makes it 18-15 now. Coming in to serve for the Yellow Jackets is number 10, Hope Sexton. Sexton gets it over. And now it's back on Rochester's side. Attack that time by Kleiss. And I believe that a Minnesota West player may have been in the net. It's 19-15 now, Rochester. Sexton to serve once more. Ball goes over. This time the set goes from number 9, Mason, over to Christensen. Rochester can't get it back, and it's a point for the Lady Jays. It's now 19-16. So good back and forth match so far. Each team has had their short runs. Right now it's Rochester with a 3-point lead. Coming in to serve for Minnesota West is number 21, Emma Keith. Keith gets it over, and a lift called right away on Rochester as they were trying to set up an attack. It is now 19-17. Rochester's lead cut to 2. Keith to serve once more. Keith gets it over, received by the Yellow Jackets, sent over to number 18th, Kleist, and ultimately winds up in the ample attack mode, Merrick's Young. 20-17, Rochester serving now is Kleist for the Yellow Jackets. She gets it over. Set goes across to number 15 for Minnesota West. That was Dunlop. Dunlop hits it wide to the left. It is 21-17 Rochester, and Minnesota West is going to take a brief timeout. We'll be back in 60 seconds on KCTP 100.3 The Bridge.
Edina Realty is a proud sponsor of this sports broadcast. As the housing market for buying and selling continues to be hot, possibly you are thinking about selling. Contact Edina Realty today for a free market analysis. Or if you are ready to shop the market for your next home, Edina Realty in Worthington can help with that too. Contact Stacy Murphy, Renee Barenwald, or Doreen Shetta for all your realtor needs at their office at 1425 North McMillan Street in Worthington. Edina Realty, proud sponsors of this sports broadcast.
1015 Steak Company, a traditional steakhouse with a modern twist right down the road in Sibley, Iowa. At 1015, their story begins in a small town, but their menu lives up to your big city expectations. Famous for their prime rib, their full menu is sure to have something for everyone. And if you're planning a special event, 1015 will come to you with their top-notch catering service. For a great dining experience, visit the 1015 Steak Company on Old Highway 60 in Sibley.
Back here at Minnesota West, where the Lady Jays are taking on the Rochester Yellow Jackets. Minnesota West attack, caught time by Corrales Ramos. Rochester is up to the challenge, back on the Minnesota West side, and Rochester winds up winning the point, as I believe a lift may have been called on the Lady Jays. 22-17, biggest lead of the set for the Yellow Jackets. And Minnesota West trying to stay alive here in this one. Attack that time by Merrick's Young is down for Rochester, out of the reach of the diving Julia Russell. It's now 23-17. Rochester 2 points away from closing out this first set. Kleist serving once again for the Yellow Jackets. Received by Sexton. Attack that time by Corrales Ramos. Over to Kleist. Set that time to the back row, and Minnesota West cannot get it over in the required 3 hits. Point for Rochester. 1 point away now from closing out that first set. It's 24-17. Kleist serves it over. It's received. Set this time goes over to the far side. Sent over by Ramos. Rochester now gets an attack. Blocked by the Lady Jays. Back this time to number 4. That was Young. Young winds up putting it on the floor after a couple of Minnesota West attempts to retrieve it. And Rochester has won the opening set by the score of 25-17. We'll be back with more volleyball here from Minnesota West. Set number 2 coming right up on KCTP 104.3 The Brick.
This sports broadcast is brought to you by Bedford Industries. Your local Bedford team includes more than 450 members, all playing important skilled positions, from twist ties, coffee and snack bag closures, and even nose wire and face masks. Chances are you've touched a Bedford product today. Bedford Industries, your home team in innovation since 1966. Interested in sporting the Bedford Bee? Check out the careers page on their website by visiting bedford.com/careers. Hello, sports fans. Farmers Agency of Avoca, located at 116 Southwest 2nd Street, Avoca, Minnesota, is happy to sponsor this sports broadcast. Give Tom, Mike, or Missy a call for any of your auto and home insurance, farm or commercial insurance, life and health insurance, crop insurance, long-term care, bonds, or Medicare insurance needs. They're located at 116 Southwest 2nd Street, Avoca, Minnesota. Give them a call at 507-335-7815 or check them out on Facebook at Farmers Agency of Avoca, Inc.
If you're a Minnesota West fan, it's appropriate music that was playing in the background. It was Shake It Off, the Taylor Swift classic, and the Jays hope to shake off the first set here. They lost 25-17. It was a back and forth sort of affair early as each team had their short runs, but as the set went on, Rochester began to pull away a little bit, and they emerged with the 8-point win. That's all right, though, as far as Minnesota West is concerned. They have at least a couple more sets left to go. It's a best-of-5 match, and Rochester has only won one set. They got to win 3, and Minnesota West will no doubt have other ideas about that. Minnesota West is 4-3 overall on the season. They're 1-2 in conference play. Rochester 3-3 overall and 2-0 in the conference. As I mentioned earlier, the National Junior College Athletic Association Division III Top 10 has Rochester rated number 5, and actually Central Lakes is ahead of them. Central Lakes is rated 4th. Also from our conference, Minnesota State Fergus Falls is ranked 10th in the National Junior College Athletic Association Division III Top 10. So Minnesota Junior College Volleyball certainly well represented in that poll. Rochester working their way back onto the floor right now. Minnesota West was already on the floor. Scoreboard clock running down to around the 10-second mark now. And we'll soon be back underway. There's the buzzer. I believe that Minnesota West, if memory serves, was first to serve last time, so it's going to be Rochester to start this time. Serving will be Chelsea Lasker, who had a little string of 5 or 6 points in a row during set number 1 for the Yellow Jackets. About ready to start. Officials in position, got the right ball in play now, it appears. Lasker serves. Minnesota West gets it over the net and right into the wheelhouse of Alexis Simpson for Rochester, and she puts it on the floor without much difficulty. It's 1-0 Rochester. She probably could have not had much better of a swing at that one. And serve once again for the Yellow Jackets. Set up this time over to Corrales Ramos. Rochester up with a challenge. Kleist attacked for Rochester, but Minnesota West gets it. Back over to Kleist. Kleist, I believe that one went long. It did. Minnesota West will now serve. We're knotted at 1 in set number 2. Going back to serve now for the Lady Jays is Taya Mason. She is a freshman from Hartley, Iowa, right in our backyard. Mason gets it over. Set this time goes over to the side. That's Simpson again. And that time the point winds up in Minnesota West's favor. Hitting error by Rochester. 2-1. Lady Jays serving once again is Mason. Mason gets it over. And it's sent back by Kleist over the net. Attacked that time by alive somehow. And the call this time is going to go against Minnesota West. It is now 2-2, and it's Alexis Simpson to go back to serve for Rochester. Simpson gets it over. Winds up going to the left-handed attack of Peterson. on the right side. Minnesota West gets it back after Rochester returns it. And we have a call of multiple hits, I believe, on Minnesota West. And Rochester takes a 3-2 lead. Simpson to serve once more. Good serve by Simpson, received by Shelby Christensen. The attack that time is put down by Joel C. Miller. And it's 3-3. Minnesota West ties it up, and that's Dannon Peterson back to serve. Pearson gets it across. Set goes over to Kleist that time. Minnesota West keeps it alive. Sent back over by Dunlop for Minnesota West. Set this time goes in the middle of the floor. Blocked that time by Minnesota West. It was Dunlop in the middle. And the Jays retake the lead at 4-3. And had a brief stoppage of play as Minnesota West got the right player back on the floor. Served by Peterson. Set this time goes over to Merrick's Young. A big attack that time. That had some power behind it. That was Buckenberg with a powerful kill. And the Lady Jays now have a 5-3 lead. Buckenberg was in perfect position. Beautiful set that time from, I believe, Pam Mason. And she put it down. That time, Kleist for Rochester. Hits it just beyond the corner. And it is 6-3 now. Minnesota West building their lead to 3 points. Peterson with another serve. Received that time by Young. Attack comes from the middle of the court. Put down that time by Kylie Nyhart. I believe that's the first time I've called her name tonight. Hopefully I identified the correct person. Regardless of who scored the point for Rochester is now 6-4. Serving now is Hope Sexton. Sexton sends it over. Attack that time is dug out. That was Dunlop on the attack for the Jays. Big kill that time. Attempted kill for Buckenberg, but it's dug out by Rochester. Attack that time by Miller. Dug out again by the Yellow Jackets. Kleist sends it over. Good dig by the West Jays that time. And that ball is tipped over the net. Out of the reach of a diving Russell. Point Rochester. It's now 6-5. Russell dove for it, and that ball may have actually been out if she didn't touch it. Nevertheless, it's 6-5 now. Minnesota West clinging to a 1-point lead as Sexton serves for Minnesota West. Minnesota received it, sent it back. Rochester setting it up. That was Kleist tipping it over. That's the setter Mason setting it back for Minnesota West. Mason now sets it. Ball goes on this corner to number 19, Miller. That time killed by Buckenberg is dug up well by number 10, Sexton. Rochester has it. Kleist hits it over the net. And I believe it sailed to the out of bounds. It did. Minnesota West gets the serve back at 7-5 now, Lady Jays. And serving will be Kennedy Buckenberg. Buckenberg sends it over. And the attack at that time is blocked by Dunlop. Back with Rochester, and that time it is Kleist putting it on the floor. Inbounds this time. It is 7-6 Minnesota West as the Yellow Jackets will regain the serve, and Kleist will do the honors. Kleist sends it over, received that time by number 1, Russell. Rochester resetting, tipped over the net that time by Merrick's Young. Minnesota West resets, they get over on the third hit. Back over to Young, and Young puts it down. It's inbounds, and she ties it up. It's 7-7. So Minnesota West had been up by 3. Now it's tied 7-7. Kleist with the serve. Set this time goes over the side. Christensen tips it over. No problem for Rochester to get the ball back into play. Mason fake the set, but sent over the net. Regrouping is Minnesota West. Young had the attack to the net, but the combination of Dunlop and Joel C. Miller were there. However, Rochester winds up with the point. It's 8-7 now. Serve goes over. Attack that time for Minnesota West comes from Joel C. Miller. It is long, however. Rochester takes a 9-7 lead. So Kleist on a little bit of a run serving. And Rochester now leads by 2. Short serve is received by Julia Russell. Attack is blocked. And now a hitting error that time on Christensen. And Minnesota West now down by 3, 10-7. So momentum clearly on the side of the Rochester Yellow Jackets, but that could change in an awful hurry in volleyball. Serve goes over the net this time. Set goes over to Christensen on the left side. Set over that time by Dunlop, who hits it long. It is now 11-7 Rochester. So the string of points continues for the Yellow Jackets. Set number 2 here from Minnesota West Center for Health and Wellness. Sent over the net by Christensen, dug out by Rochester. Little fake set, no problem for Rochester to handle. That attack is going to come this time from Gabala. Minnesota West cannot come up with it successfully. It's now 12-7 Rochester. We'll see how long Brittany McNabb waits to call a timeout for the Jays. Shouting instructions from the sideline. Once again, Kleist still serving for Rochester. Ball gets a back row attempt on the kill by Buckenberg. And that time, it's a hitting error on the Rochester Yellow Jackets. Young. And Minnesota West is going to get the ball back. Now down 12-8. And serving for the Lady Jays will be Emma Keith. So good little run by the Yellow Jackets. We'll see if Minnesota West can answer. She serves. Kept from the back row. That's Kylie Neihart. But her attempt was long. It's now 12-9. Keith serving for the second consecutive point. Attack this time from Gabala. Dug up by Rest. And Gabala comes up with a block at the net as Dunlop tries to send it back. So a point for Rochester. Gabala is a 5'10" freshman middle hitter from St. Charles, Minnesota. It's now 13-9, Rochester. Set over that time on the serve. Minnesota West gets it no problem. Tipped this time at the net by Simpson. Attack that time is thwarted by Rochester. That was Christensen on the attack. And the kill attempt for and Minnesota West will get the service. Down 13-10. And number 1, Julia Russell, will do the honors. Russell sends it over. And action at the net. And that's sent over by Corrales Ramos. She hit it backward, and I don't think Rochester was particularly ready for that one. Point Minnesota West, and it's 13-11. Rochester clinging to a 2-point edge. Russell will serve again. Russell, a 5'5" freshman defensive specialist from Hot Springs, South Dakota. Her serve is over. An attack attempt that time was a good one by Simpson, but Minnesota West dug it up. Nice dive that time by Simpson to save another potential point. Rochester now regrouping, resetting. Nice attack, but another great save by Russell. But that time a Minnesota West player, I'm sorry I did not see who hit it long. Point for Rochester. It's now 14-11. And Rochester will get the service back. This one clears the net barely. Minnesota West gets into position. Sent over by Buckenberg. Attack that time is down. That was Alexis Simpson putting it in the corner. Sounds like there's a little debate from some of the fans to whether or not that was down, but the point stands. It's 15-11. Ball sent over that time on the service, and that was Dannon Peterson. And ultimately, a Rochester player hits it long. Minnesota West will get the service back. Down by 3 in the second set, 15-12. Shelby Christensen serving now. Christensen gets it over. And set that time by Rochester. Getting the set is Buckenberg on the side. Set this time goes to Corrales Ramos. And tipped over and successfully down for Rochester. That was Jennifer Albrecht who netted that point. 16-12 now in the second set. In case you missed it, Rochester won the opening set 25-17. So Rochester up 4 here, looking to take a 2-0 edge. Minnesota West, of course, has other ideas. Serve that time comes from Rochester, and it's going to wind up as an ace for the Yellow Jackets, and it's now 17-12. Rochester with the lead. That ace was recorded by Lasker. 5-point lead for the Yellow Jackets. That's their biggest of this set. Lasker sends it over. Set goes over to Buckenberg, but it's dug out by the Yellow Jackets. Now it's Kleist hitting it directly in to the chest of Julia Russell. Minnesota West can't do anything with it, and it's now a 6-point edge at 18-12. Rochester up by 6. Another serve this time for Lasker. The set this time goes to Dannon Peterson. No problem for Rochester. Attack of the net is blocked that time by Ramos from Minnesota West. Tip that time goes over. Free ball's going to be sent over that time for West by Russell. Rochester regrouping. Big block at the net for Jays by Peterson. Also there was Buckenberg, but Rochester keeping it alive. And the whistle blows. And too many hits for Rochester, and Minnesota West will regain serve. Down 18-13 here in the second set. Coming in to serve is Taya Mason. 18-13, Rochester leads in set number 2. Mason serves it. Set goes over to the side. That's Kleist. Sent back by Minnesota West. Kleist will try again, and that one is wide. 18-14. So Minnesota West trying to mount a little bit of a comeback here. Mason once again will serve. Clears the net. And that was Buckenberg who had a tip. That was saved by Rochester. Now they'll set up again. Goes over to Buckenberg. Buckenberg will tip it over. And that wound up as ultimately a passing error from the looks of it, and Rochester gets the serve. It's 19-14. Big serve from Simpson is received, and a hitting error that time on the Jays. It was number 19 Miller who mishit that one. It's now 20-14. We'll have a timeout on the floor. We'll take 60 seconds. KZTP 104.3, The Bridge.
Johnson Jewelry in downtown Worthington is your headquarters for all of your gift-giving needs. They offer free gift wrapping and can work with any budget. They carry an exceptional line of diamond rings, necklaces, and gemstone earrings and charms. If you need something personalized, they offer engraving services on most items and have a variety of items in store that can be engraved, such as lockets, wall crosses, and bracelets. Visit your locally owned Johnson Jewelry at 1009 4th Avenue in downtown Worthington, your fine diamond store for the past 49 years.
When the unexpected happens, call Shoot Auto Body. They make it easy with their free pickup and delivery, or they'll set you up with a loaner car. Shoot Auto Body offers a lifetime warranty on their workmanship, expert paint jobs, and glass repair. Also, ask Jim about dustless blasting. Remember, it's your decision where to take your vehicle, not someone else's. Make the right decision and call Shoot Auto Body under the water tower in Wilmot, where they give you a lifetime warranty on their workmanship. Call 926-5210.
Back here in the Center for Health Wellness on the campus of Minnesota West Community and Technical College in Worthington. Rochester has a 20-14 lead. Serving is Alexis Simpson. She gets it over. Minnesota West sets it up. Big kill that time. Put down by Kennedy Buckenberg. It's 20-15. The Jays regain serve. Dannon Peterson will do the honors for the home team. Peterson gets it over. Minnesota West sets it up. That was a big attack that time by Kleist, is dug up by West successfully. Ball back on the side of Rochester. Kleist that time goes to more of a gentle touch shot. That winds up on the floor. It's 21-15 Rochester. So Rochester rebuilds that 6-point edge, and coming into serve is Hope Sexton. She is a freshman from Preston, Minnesota. 21-15, Rochester with the set 2 lead. Received by Minnesota West, goes over to Dunlop, blocked at the net successfully that time, and down is Trinity Gabala. It looked like there was a little bit of a miscommunication that time between Minnesota West players. The ball just kind of dropped in the middle of the floor. 22-15, Rochester with a 7-point edge. And Sexton will serve once again. Sexton gets it over. Set this time goes over to number 19, and I don't think Rochester was quite ready for that one. It was more of a dig type motion. The ball went over the net. Josie Miller gets credit with the kill. It's 22-16. Minnesota West to serve. It's going to be Buckenberg doing the honors. She sends it over. Set by Rochester goes toward the middle, and it's going to be, I believe, an in the net call against Rochester. It's 22-17 now. So Minnesota West down by 5, trying to cut it further here. Buckenberg serves again. And the ball gets sent over to Young. And Young, the ball was long, but I believe they said it was tipped by a Jays player. And we're waiting for an official ruling. And it actually was not tipped by a Jays player, the officials conclude. It's 22-18 now. Rochester up by 4. Serve dug up. It's Kleist, but ball goes back toward Rochester. They did not get it over in 3 hits. It is now 22-19. So Minnesota West mounting a little bit of a comeback here, trying to regain lead. Blocked that time at Dunlop, but Rochester regroups, gets it back, sends it over. Now the set's going to go over to Shelby Christensen, and Christensen ends up with the kill. He was dug up by Chelsea Lasker, but it went very high and ended up not being able to be controlled by her teammate. Minnesota West only down by 2 now. Buckenberg serves. Ball gets sent over to Molly Kleist. Kleist hits it hard. Too much for Minnesota West's Miller to handle that time. It's now 23-20. Rochester now up by 3, and Kleist will serve now for Rochester. Kleist gets it over barely that time. Rochester sets it up this time to Gabala, sends it over the corner. It's Russell keeping it alive on that one. Now back on Rochester's side. Attack by Young, dug up by Russell. Big attack that time is dug up by the Yellow Jackets. Here's Kleist from the back with the attack dug up by Russell once more. Now Minnesota West. Rochester going back and forth. Kleist now sends one from the back row. Saved that time by Mason. Rochester winds up with the point. So Rochester now 1 point away from taking set number 2. It is 24-20. And Kleist will try to serve for the set. And we're going to have a timeout. We're going to keep it right here as we are at set point. It is 24-20. Rochester won the opening set 25-17. So if Rochester holds on here, they'll be up 2-0 on Minnesota West. Minnesota West, first match at home of the season, hoping to put on a good show for the home fans. And right now they're playing, I'd say, better this set than they did in the first set. But they still find themselves down 4 and facing set point against their guests, the Rochester Yellow Jackets. Players return to the floor. And Kleist is on the serve for the set here. Kleist sends it over. It's a short serve. And diving, but unable to come up with this, Julia Russell. Great serve that time by Kleist. And that ends the set. It's 25-20. Rochester moves out in front 2 games to 0, or 2 sets to 0, over Minnesota West. We're going to take 90 seconds for commercials. We'll be back with more college volleyball action right here on KZTP 104.3 The Bridge.
Whether you're on the field or on the court, athletes make it look so easy. Long passes, off the backboard, down the line, over the fence, score! That's how State Farm agent Jessica Noble feels about the right coverage in savings. Combine your home and auto with State Farm for that winning combination.
Call me, State Farm agent Jessica Noble, in either Worthington or Sibley today. Find us online at jessnoble.com.
This sports broadcast proudly brought to you by Hadley Steel. For quality grain handling equipment, it's Hadley Steel in Hadley, Minnesota. At Hadley Steel, they service.
This just on fire.
The building?
No, their awesome team of realtors.
Oh, well, duh. We've been doing that since 1983. If you're looking for that team of realtors to get your home sold or find you that dream home, give Johnson Builders and Realty a call. I'm Tony Bria, and we are here to make your buying or selling process easy and fun. For a free market analysis of your home or to start your buying process, give us a call at 507-376-4149. Better yet, stop by our office at 1114 Oxford Street and talk to us.
Legendary coach John Wooden once said, teamwork is not a preference, it is a requirement. Just like it takes a team to win on the field or court, we believe it takes a team to help reach your financial goals. Come see Mike, Carol, Aaron, and Elena at Michael Investment Office in downtown Worthington to see how we can help make a difference in your life.
Securities offered through Momentum Independent Network. Member FINRA SIPC, 201 9th Street, Worthington, Minnesota. Call us at 507-727-7777 or online at MikeWold.com.
Back here in the Center for Health and Wellness at the Minnesota West campus. And we are getting ready to get the third set underway. And so far, the sets have been closely contested, but both ultimately won by the visiting team, the Rochester Yellow Jackets. Rochester won set 1, 25-17, and set 2, Minnesota West, I thought anyways, played a little bit better, but they ended up falling 25-20. So now, on to the third set. If Rochester wins, of course, the match would be over. Minnesota West will look to keep on going. They win, they force a set 4, they win that set, they force a game 5, and then anything's possible. I've attended a few volleyball matches over the years where the team that has been down 2-0 early has come back and won 3-2. So anything is possible here on the campus of Minnesota West in the gymnasium of the Lady Jays. And as I mentioned just a few moments ago, it is the Lady Jays' first match of the season, so I'm sure it would be quite the storybook finish for the Jays if they're able to come back and emerge with a win in this one. The Jays should serve to open the set, and if it's any indication of how people are set up right now, it looks like Mason will be doing the honors. She is in the serving position. Official rolls the ball over to Mason, and we're about to get underway in set number 3. So the Lady Jays will begin their new quest now to rally from a 2-0 deficit. Mason gets it over, tip that time by Rochester's Jennifer Albrecht gets Rochester's the first point of the game. Ball was perfectly placed by Albrecht between multiple diving Lady J players. Serving now for Rochester. I believe that was Lasker. Kill that time, the attempted kill rather, comes from Kleist, kept alive, and Minnesota West gets it back. That hit came from Christensen, and Minnesota West gets a point as Rochester unable to return it. Dannon Peterson now will serve. Peterson gets it over. And a tip that time once again by Albrecht. She likes those tips. Sent over by the Lady Jays. Attack that time is blocked by Corrales. Minnesota cannot get it back over that time, however. Diving attempt that time by Mason, but falls short of the net. It's 2-1 Rochester. Serving now is Alexis Simpson, number 1 for Rochester. Simpson gets it over. Set this time goes to Dunlop. She sends it over. Rochester passes it to Kleist. Kleist tips it, kept alive that time by Buckenberg for Minnesota West. Attack that time comes from Rochester's number 4, Merrick's Young, and it's now 3-1 Yellow Jackets. Rochester up by 2 early in the third set. And Minnesota West sets the ball to Buckenberg. Buckenberg hits it into the net. It is now 4-1 Rochester. And Simpson will continue serving for the visitors. Simpson serves. It's a good hard serve received by Minnesota West, but a lift is called that time on the Jays. It is now 5-1 Rochester. So Rochester with 4 consecutive points, and Simpson will keep on serving. Simpson, a freshman from Caledonia, Minnesota. Good serve that time, but a great save by Julia Russell. The Minnesota West hit that time winds up long. 6-1 now Rochester with the lead. Simpson serves once more. Set this time goes over to number 15, Dunlop. Dunlop ends up hitting it twice in a row. Another point for Rochester, and it's 7-1. So 6 consecutive points scored by the Yellow Jackets here. Simpson will continue serving. Simpson sends it over to Dunlop. She sends it across the floor, and Dunlop's hit sails wide, and it is 8-1 Rochester. We'll see how long Coach McNabb waits to call time. Right now she is not. Serve that time. Clears the net. Sent back over ultimately by Taya Mason. Attack for Rochester goes up into the rafters, but Minnesota West manages to keep it alive. Set this time goes over to Kleist. Kleist gets it, kept alive by the Jays. Corrales Ramos blocked at the net. Ramos sends it back over. Set this time comes over to Merrick's Young. Young has a successful kill. Minnesota West did well to keep it alive. It actually went off the basket that's lifted up off toward the ceiling. But Rochester ultimately winds up the point. It is 9-1. Simpson continues serving. Nice low serve that time. Nice save that time for the West team. That's Julia Russell with a great dive. Merrick's Young attacks. Dug up this time by Minnesota West. Kept alive by Rochester. Goes over to Kleist. Kleist with a tip. Diving save attempt by number 9 Mason. And another point for Rochester is now 10-1. Here's the timeout now called by Minnesota West. 9 points in a row for Rochester. It's 10-1. They lead third set. We'll take a 60-second timeout on KZTP. 104.3 The Bridge.
Skier Concrete in Chandler is celebrating 50 years. Hi, this is Darren Skier. We have always been a family business dedicated to providing our customers with quality products and services. We specialize in hog and cattle confinements, providing quality hog Precast walls and precast decks for houses. We also have concrete pump trucks. Give us a call, find us on Facebook, or visit SkeerConcrete.com. Skeer Concrete in Chandler. Quality crafted and time tested.
Hey sports fans, this is Julie Foot with MVTV Wireless, and we are excited to sponsor this sports broadcast. Since 1999, MVTV Wireless has been the leader in delivering superior fixed wireless broadband internet to rural Minnesota at the lowest possible cost, all with unlimited data, no contracts, or hidden fees. There's no bull with MVTV Wireless, just great service. So for better internet service, make the right choice. Call 320-564-4807 or visit us at mvtvwireless.com. MVTV Wireless Internet, connecting rural Minnesota.
Back here at Minnesota West, 10-1 Rochester in the third set. Serve goes over the net, and Minnesota West players in the net that time. I believe it went against Dunlop. Is now 11-1 Rochester, 10 points in a row for the Yellow Jackets, all behind Alexis Simpson serving. Simpson that time serves it once more. Minnesota West keeps it alive. Set goes over to number 14, and that time a Rochester player was in the net. I believe Albrecht was, and Minnesota West finally gets the serve back, down 11-2. Buckenberg will serve for the Jays. She gets it over. Set this time goes over to Merrick's Young. She hits it to the net. Point Minnesota West, and now it's 11-3. So the Jays will take hitting errors. They'll take anything they can get to get back into this set. 11-3 now. Set this time goes over to number 5 for Rochester. First time I've said her name tonight, Kenzie Mentlick. And it's a point for the Jays. Excuse me, point for the Rochester Yellow Jackets. It's 12-3. Rotating some different players in the game, the Yellow Jackets are. Eliana Hammond in the serve. And a block at the net is retrieved by the Jays, but hit into the net by Minnesota West. It's now 13-3. Rochester continues to lead. Eliana Hammond. I apologize if her family happens to be listening. 13-3. Time at the net successfully by number 11, Shelby Christensen. And the Jays get the point to make it 13-4. Jays get the serve back, rotating in a couple of different players. Actually, it's Emma Keith. She's been in the match quite a few times. Keith will serve as the Jays are down 9 here in the third set. Keith sends it over. Received by the Jays. Blocked that time by Dunlap on an attack by Rochester. Blocked that time again by Minnesota West, and a lift is called on Rochester, so another point for Minnesota West. 13-5, Rochester leads. Keith will serve again for the home team. Keith gets it over. Set this time goes over to number 5 for Rochester. That's Mendlick. And her attack is wide, and it's 13-6. Minnesota West keeps the ball in the service. Ball that time is received and attacked into the net that time. Mishit by Alexis Simpson. It's now 13-7. Minnesota West trying to get back in this. They've still got a ways to go, but we also have quite a ways to go in the set. Served that time by Keith. Rochester setting it up. Attack this time goes from Merrick's Young, and unable to be controlled that time. Keith got her hands on it, but it went the other way toward the exit sign. Point Rochester, it's 14-7. Now coming in to serve for the Yellow Jackets, we've said her name a few times, Hope Sexton. 14-7 Rochester. Received by West. This time the set goes over to Shelby Christensen, and it's down between two diving Rochester players. She'll get the kill, and Minnesota West will get the serve back. 14-8, Rochester leads it. Serving now for Minnesota West will be Julia Russell. Russell serves, and it's into the net. Points for Rochester. I believe that is the first service error we have seen all night long. And unfortunately, it goes for Minnesota West. Rochester goes 15-8 ahead. That was a fairly convoluted sentence, but I think you get my point. 15-8 Rochester. And the serve this time comes from Olivia Edie. That time, Rochester winds up getting a kill from Alexis Simpson. So Rochester are now doubling up Minnesota West here in the third set. It's 16-8, and Edie will once again serve. Edie with serve. It is long. So we had one service error for Minnesota West a couple minutes ago. Now one for Rochester. It's 16-9. Serving is number 11, Christensen, for the Jays. That gets sent over. Jays trying to set. And at the net successfully for Rochester that time on a block was Gabala. It is now 17-9. Rochester leads. Nyhart in to serve. Serve is received, set over to Buckenberg this time. Kept alive by Rochester. Hit into the net by Sexton, point Minnesota West. It's 17-10 now. And coming in to serve for the Lady Jays is Taya Mason. Mason puts over, received, getting a set is number 1, Simpson, but it's blocked at the net by the Jays. It was number 5, Peterson there, as well as her teammate Josie Miller. And that time, Minnesota West cannot block it, as number 14, Jennifer Albrecht, gets the deflection off a Minnesota West player and out of bounds. It's 18-11 Rochester. And that is Lasker who will serve for the guests. Set to Buckenberg this time. And coming up with a block at the net is Albrecht off of the Buckenberg attack. It is 19-11 Rochester. Lasker will serve once more. Lasker sends it over, and it is momentarily kept alive by Russell, but Minnesota West unable to get the ball over on the required 3 tries. It is a service ace. It is now 20-11, Rochester with a 9-point edge. Lasker serves once more. Getting it set over to Corrales Ramos that time. Ramos is able to put it down for the Lady Jays. Point for Minnesota West, it's 20-12. And Dan and Peterson now will serve, trying to spark a fire in the Jays and get them back into the set. Instead, it's number 1, Simpson, who is blocked at the net that time by the combination of Dunlop and Buckenberg. It's a point for Minnesota West. It's 20-13. Serve this time comes from Peterson. Set this time. And Minnesota West able to successfully return it. They scrambled a little bit, but they got it. That time the attack from Rochester comes from Jennifer Albrecht. It goes down off the deflection of a Minnesota West player. It's now 21-13. And here comes Alexis Simpson to serve. She is the one who served multiple points in a row for Rochester earlier. This time Minnesota West gets it back on the service return. And the attack by number 4, Merrick Young, is deflected and out of bounds by a Minnesota West player. So Minnesota West surrenders that point. It's 22-13, and Simpson will serve again. Simpson that time serves it into the net, so a point for Minnesota West. It's 22-14. Going back to serve for the Lady Jays is Kennedy Buckenberg. Buckenberg sends it over. Rochester sets it up this time. It goes over to Ventlick. Minnesota West keeps the volley alive this time. Ball gets sent over to Christensen on the attack. Dub up by number 1, Simpson. Minnesota West now back with it. Ramos tips it over. It's going to be sent back over by Ventlick. Team still going back and forth. It's on Rochester's side now, tipped over by Young. That time, Minnesota West up to the challenge. Young on the attack, saved by Russell. Now Minnesota West and Rochester. It's Rochester resetting and tipping as she has done multiple times in this match. Finding space on the floor is Jennifer Albrecht. She gets the point for Rochester. It's 23-14 now. And the Jays making a substitution, it appears right now. It looks like Emily Wilkie is going to come into the match. Ramos checks out. Also checking in for Minnesota West is number 14, Katie Hummel. So a couple new players in for Lady Jays here. It's 23-14 Rochester. Serving for Rochester is going to be number 16. That is Eliana Hammond. I think the officials are conferring. Make sure the rotations are all in place. And Hammond will serve here with her team up 9. Serve goes over. Jays set it up. It's going to go to Christensen on the side. Rochester's up to the challenge. Set this time goes over to Manlick, but it's blocked that time. It was Christensen who rose to the challenge. It is 23-15. And Emily Wilkie will see her first action behind the service line in this match for Minnesota West. Wilkie gets it over. Rochester sets. This ball goes over to Young. Dunlop got her hands on it, but it falls to the floor, and it's a point for Rochester. And Rochester is a point away from winning this match. Serving now for the match will be Sexton. 24-15. Match point for the Rochester Yellow Jackets here against the home team Minnesota West Lady Jays. Set goes over to Shelby Christensen. She tips it over, and it falls to the floor after a Rochester player made contact with it. So the Jays stay alive for now. It is 24-16, and Julia Russell will serve for Minnesota West. Russell gets it over. The set goes over to Gabala. Retrieved by West. Now it's Rochester back with it. And it's Young who hits it off a diving Minnesota West player. Falls to the floor. Concludes the match. That final set won by Rochester by the score of 25-16. They win the match 3-0 over the Minnesota West Lady Jays. We'll be back with a brief recap after a couple minutes of words from our fine All-In Sports sponsors. Right here on KZTP 104.3, The Bridge.
This sports broadcast brought to you by Heartland Mutual Insurance Company in Lismore. They are here to protect all that's important to you and your future. Contact your Heartland Mutual agent to learn more.
There are plenty of ways to buy your next property. You could do it yourself, you could do it online. But to find an agency that is knowledgeable with the most up-to-date real estate information is a game changer. Hi, this is Jenny McEwen, broker, owner for